Hey, I'm going to show you our two main exclusion audiences. So what we want to do when we set up campaigns is we don't want to send to every single person on the list, right? A lot of times we'll segment based on different customer behaviors and habits. So here's an example of a campaign in AIQ. And we're mainly sending to people here that have actively shopped in the last 0 to 60 days. And then here are the exclusion audiences. The first one is emails failed and unengaged users. Now let's look at each of these and see why we would want to include them. First one here, I actually brought this down to emails have failed 3+ times. So where is this? It's in performed event, failed email X times, more than 3. So what this means is if they have a failed email, and if you send an email to them and it's failed at least three times, then we don't want to send it to them. Why? Well, first, why do emails fail? First reason is because it could be a fake email, invalid email. Another reason is because they might actually have a full inbox, and so they can't even receive the email. It just bounces back. So if that happens at least 3 times, it's probably going to keep happening. And so we don't want to continue to send it to them. And so after 3, and the reason we give it 3 chances is because if it is a full inbox, maybe they reduce their inbox and they can receive the second one or the third. But after 3, they're unlikely to ever receive that email. So we add that in here. Another reason why we want to reduce the failures is because when you have high email failures, Google sees that. And what Google says is, why are these all failing? And over time, that could erode, or it could decrease your email domain reputation with Google. And so if you have a bunch of failed emails week after week for months and for years, it'll lower your reputation score. Now, what is an ideal failure rate? Well, it should be definitely under 1%, but you should try to get your failure rate under 0.5%. So if you look at your emails that you're sending out, look at your failure rate, and if you're over 0.5%, then definitely add this in because you want less failed emails because it'll hurt your score. Okay, really easy audience to set up. Again, failed emails, X amount of times. You can see the difference, right? If we do 1, there's about double. But again, we want to give people the chance to clean up their inboxes. So if you do failed 2 times, look how much this decreases by. Half, right? And then it doesn't change much when we start going higher and higher. Definitely not as much as that first one did. So even if we went higher, it's not going to change much. So 3 is where we want to keep that. The second exclusion audience is unengaged users. Now, what is an unengaged user? Well, let's go through all these different parameters. We have 4 different ones here. The first is number of opened emails is exactly 0. So they've never opened an email. And they got 20 emails. They received at least 20 emails in the last 0 to 180 days. So that's 6 months. So if they got more than 20 emails in the last 6 months and they opened 0 of them, they're unlikely to open more. Now we also want to see, okay, how many of these people are opted in for email? That's what this conditional is here. And then what we also add in, this is important, because think about it, if someone just signed up recently or for whatever reason, they signed up in the last 180 days and we need to give them a chance. And so we put first seen in last 180 to 10,000 days. So that gives people a chance to potentially open those emails and become an engaged user. But as you can see here, there's a lot. And this represents probably about 40% of all of this store's opt-ins. And you'd be surprised. I see around 50, actually more like 45 to 40% of an entire email list actually engaged, which means 55 to 60% are completely unengaged. they've never seen an email, they've never opened an email. Actually, it's not true that they may have never seen, they just never opened an email. Maybe they're seeing it, maybe they're not. Reasons why? Well, it could be going to their spam. Maybe they marked it as spam, or you just have a low reputation with Google, so Google is automatically sending it to spam. Maybe they provided an email address that they don't check often at all, so they'll never really see it. Or maybe it's going into their promotions tab and they just don't open a promotions tab at all. So however, wherever their email is going, they're receiving it, but they're not opening it. And they may be seeing it, but still, they're also not opening it. So why do we want to exclude these people? Well, again, if they've been getting 20 plus emails in the last 6 months and they've opened 0 of them, they're unlikely to open anything in the future. Now, again, with this group, you could test it out and you could send emails only to this group of unengaged, and you'll see the open rate is either 0 or very, very, very low, most likely 0. And so why is this beneficial? Well, you'll send less emails, so you'll use less credits. It'll help your email reputation score. Again, Google assigns an email domain reputation score. And the lower that rating is, it's either bad, low, medium, or high. And if it's not high, you're going to start suffering in open rates. So if you're on bad or low, a really good indication is if you're getting between 10 and 15% open rates when you're sending to your entire list or very, very large groups of people. And Google, they look at who opens and engages with your emails. So the more people that engage with it, open it, click on things within it, or reply, respond, the better your reputation will get. They see that as a positive action. A negative action is when emails fail and when people do not open your emails. So again, there's a lot of great reasons why we want to do this. One of the biggest ones is to protect your Google email reputation on your domain. Another is you're not going to be using as many credits because you're not sending as many emails. Again, this store has about 15,000 emails opted in. So like around 40% are never even opening or engaging. And so why would we continue to send 6,800 emails multiple times a week for months and years? That's basically going to add up to hundreds of thousands of emails, which means tens of thousands or more of credits on AIQ that can be freed up in sending to people that actually do engage. You can engage with them more or add other types of strategies and hit people. So these are really important, really easy to add. Again, let's run through each of these. So number of emails opened, right, under performed event, exactly 0. And performed event, number of received emails, more than 20, in range between the last 0 and 180 days. We also want to check if they're opted in for email and give them a chance to actually be able to open these and engage. So we do first seen in the last 180 to 10,000 days. Now, what happens if I start taking some of these off? How does it change? This probably won't make it change too much, right? About 400 people got added in. And then what if we remove this? So we just said open 0 emails. Well, it's going to be a lot higher, right? Because we didn't have those time frame parameters. So all in all, let me just refresh this so you can see this again. These 2 exclusions, you want to add them when you're creating a campaign and making sure that campaign recipients, as long as they are not within these audiences. So if we go to edit here and we go down to who's going to receive this, right, exclude users within these audiences. That's where you add it in. So very important to add those in and protect your email domain, as well as reduce your credits and just be a lot smarter with email marketing. Hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions.